Pritchard. I located Radford. He was attacked by men in suits. Private security, Secret Service types. I'm going after them.
What about Radford? Did you get anything out of him?
He didn't make it. There was nothing I could do.
Right. I'll call it in. You have a new lead, at least?
Yeah, I'm on my way there now. I'll contact you when I have more.
There's a sickness coming, my children. Gray and deadly. Will come.
Of course he is. I know Mr. Gray is landing tonight. We're working on it, yes. Listen, believe me, we tried. The old man proved resilient. We left someone behind to watch him. If we need, we can go back. I'm not sure how much more he can take. That's what we need Smith. We tried that already. Look, he can't get the safe open. That's why if you could, send Smith down. Right. Thank you, sir. And we'll contact you as soon as we have the information.
Access granted.
Did I leave my door open? Wait, you're not from Roland Mills. You're too handsome to be from Roland Mills.
No, I'm not. Mrs. Michelle Walters, is it? My name's Adam Jensen.
No, you much too old to be him. You must be from Roland Mills. And please, it's Miss Walters.
Brent Radford sent me. Do you remember him? He's a detective.
Yes, lovely gentleman. He still has my photos of Adam when he was a baby. Oh, could you be a dear and fetch them for me? I forgot who has them, though.
Are these the photographs?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I haven't seen Adam Jensen in such a long time. Forever, it seems. Such a happy baby.
Miss Walters, can you tell me about the boy in those photos?
The boy in those photos? Adam. Tragic, really, what happened to his parents. His real parents.
His real parents?
They died in that fire. Horrible, really. I was there. At least those other cribs were empty. I only had to save Adam.
Mrs. Walters, I really need you to focus. What are you talking about?
Why, I already told that nice detective all this already. About the experiments and the fire at White Helix Labs. We knew Adam was special. That's why his parents started the fire, so they didn't do the same thing to the next batch of babies.
So Adam's real parents were trying to protect him. But from what?
Why, from the conspiracy, of course. But I've said too much. Would you be a dear now and go fetch my dinner?
Miss Walters, please. I know it was a while ago, and remembering all the details might be hard, but do you think you can try and focus for a minute? What did you tell the detective?
Well, Mr. Radford and I spoke about many, many things. But don't you have meals to deliver? And where is my dinner?
Thank you for your time, Miss Walters.
Oh, before I forget, if you see Adam, could you please give him this? It's for all the birthdays and Christmases I've missed. I've been saving them.
I'll make sure he gets it.
Thank you, dear. Why, he must be 12 or 13 by now. Make sure he gets something nice. Oh, hello, dear. Is it dinner time already? You remind me of someone. Have we met?
Pritchard, I need you to assign a temporary security detail to an apartment on Brooklyn Court until I can figure out a more permanent solution. The woman's name is Walters, Michelle Walters.
Security detail? What the hell, Jensen? Who is this woman?
She's family. But she's vulnerable. I'll explain later. Just do this for me, please. And not a word to Sarif. Can I trust you on this, Pritchard?
Christ, Jensen. All right. I'll do it. But there better be a damn good reason for this.
There is. I'll fill you in next time I see you. But right now I need to get back to work. And Pritchard, thanks.
Yeah.
So you notice that there's a lot of street signs all over the place in places like Hangsha and of course Detroit. And one of the things that fell on on the writing team at some point was we would see these signs very late in the production process. And at one point I saw one of these street signs for Detroit, and I realized that it was in metrics. It was not in feet and miles.
It was in the proper system.
And so
and then we needed to switch it to the
and as one of the
crazy
few
system.
Americans on this mostly French-Canadian team, I then had to basically send an email out to the whole team saying, guys, sorry, but we're in Detroit, and Detroit doesn't use metrics, and so make sure that all your signs are in the correct
non-scientific method.
Right.
Yes.
Can you tell me where Detroit is again?
Yeah. So anyway, so that was kind of funny because we sent that out, and I think that it was one of those kind of silly things that you're sitting there going, gee, nobody thought of that.
No, but it's true. No, it was really good that you made us notice. Yeah, that it was measured in yeah.
So that's why we had an American on the team.
Yeah, for that.
The only reason.
The only reason.
Everything seems to be under control in the convention center.
And Taggart?
He's on stage now. His protection is deep. Only those with VIP passes can get by the guards.
We'll just stay here and make sure none of those hooligans try to sneak in the back door.
So, originally we wanted tons of side quests. What happened, Pat?
Like when we started to work on Deus Ex, I mean the critical path was the main focus, and the side quest was we knew we wanted them, and we tackled that task later in production. And there was one moment where we said, okay, we're gonna do 25 side quests. We're gonna talk about all the different philosophy of the game. We're gonna support all the different mechanics. What a beautiful matrix of like what side quests will be. We're gonna spread them around the game. Every time the player goes in a city hub, you will have like 5 to 7 side quests to do, and then everything was possible. And when we started to implement them, the reality like really hit us. And I just remember that Jeff, I think at one point would have killed me because I will go see him every 2-3 weeks, and I will say, okay, this is where we are. We have 25 side quests, but 2-3 weeks later we'll go see him. We can probably do just 23, or like then 2-3 months later we'll say, okay, we can only do 12.
Yeah, and my heartbeat was raising every single time.
Yeah, and I don't think you saw all the love and writing and rewriting that went into them, and we focus on the quality versus quantity. So what we end up doing was putting more side quests on the critical path, which basically people would be submerged in those alternate stories. And when we reached near the end of the game, we said we'll put more side quests because what's interesting, the player at the beginning discover City Hub, and then we said player will play like to finish the game.
And since we cannot change exploration setups between Detroit 1 and Detroit 2, players could actually explore almost everything in Detroit 1, and in Detroit 2, well, there was not much more else to explore, only the additional side quests or a few things I managed to place in somewhere.
So here's the idea behind a convention center that we had. Like sometimes some convention centers, some of the smaller ones in cities, cater to a specific, industry, whatever. It's not that they're not going to let any other industries come do stuff there, but sometimes they cater to like new media. They cater to all sorts of things. And we said, hey, this one is in Detroit. Let's pretend. Let's make it as a convention center that usually hosts talks or conventions that have to do with transhumanism and augmentations and whatnot, right? But then it shows a personality of Taggart, because he decided, you know what, my talk, my anti-augmentation talk, I'm gonna hold it. It's gonna be held inside that kind of like pro-transhumanist convention center.
It's really provocative. Make a statement.
It's provocative. It's making a statement, exactly, and it's a free country, so you can do it. So the idea, that's why the place is extremely, extremely gold, just to represent this idea of the transhumanism in the art direction, and it's quite a nice place. It was one of our more junior kind of concept artists. I mean, he's not a junior, but not one of our most experimented guys. But he did an amazing job. This kind of like modern architecture, like kind of somewhat futuristic, but yet credible. The carpeting, beautiful, beautiful place. Really like it. Yeah.
Bill is really changing the world for the better.
Or changing it back to what it used to be. To before these people started poisoning their bodies. Or to use his words, their divine engine.
Well, you just heard William Taggart speak, and isn't he a smooth talker? He doesn't want you to better yourself. He wants to limit you.
Oh yes, that character, the infamous Rhonda Mitchell, who actually had a name, but she was part originally in Detroit 1 of one of the, not a side quest per se, but an actual encounter you could encounter in the Detroit back alleys, where she was harassed by one of the guys, and was just supposedly one of the random encounters you could have in the game in the city hubs. And if the player decided to intervene and save that woman, she would actually appear here in Detroit 2, and being like a opposite version of what Bill Taggart is trying to convey inside Conchester.
Yeah.
And well, the whole event, the whole encounter inside H11 was completely cut because of scripting issues and the whole aspect of following chaos on those kind of encounter. So we just managed to keep the character, but I even suggested to Jeff that maybe we could, you know, punch it up a bit, where she actually, at the end of her speech, she has a vest with explosive and just explode herself inside the lobby. But Jeff wasn't too keen on that idea. So.
And he wanted the nuclear mushroom after that. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, just mushrooms. I was hungry.
Hate-mongering and William Taggart's irrational need to keep us in the Dark Ages.
You don't have to get uppity just because I don't agree.
When we pass the infamous locked door, and then we are in the VIP type of environment of the convention center where Bill Taggart is currently doing his press thing on the stage in front of the millions and millions of press media people.
You mean the 4 NPCs?
Well, those for me are actually millions, but anyway. I know I don't count. We had alternate paths to get, because the actual objective was not to talk to Bill Taggart himself, but to get the information. And the information was either was on his computer or Bill Taggart himself. So the player had choice, and we wanted to make sure that the player understands there are alternate paths, because everything was, well, we try to convey it towards the conversation with Bill Taggart, but as a level designer, I always have more interest on actual alternate paths, so maybe I focus a bit way too much on the actual alternate paths, batch rooms and scripting and the backstage and all that. So I had fun. But,
But after that, we realized that as you go through the corridor, what you see that is obvious is the alternate path.
Yes.
And that the auditorium is totally to your right. And now we had to build all those signs to be very obvious on the choke point to make sure that the players know that.
But what's funny is that it's right there on your right.
See this very expensive thing that we created for them. To
but
get
at the same
to
time,
see.
what's funny is that we did all these things to attract you there, but it's like 10 feet to your right. You know, it's just.
But it's surprising sometimes how players move in the game.
Yeah. Backstage area is completely blocked off. Even the janitor can't get back there now. What about the air vents? You're kidding, right? Have you seen the size of those vents? You expect a contortionist or midget is going to try to assassinate Taggart? Don't get smart.
Slave to a bunch of super soldiers in 5 years.
Moral responsibility.
Looks as if the ball is now firmly in the United Nations court. This is Eliza Cassell reporting to you live from Haiti. Thousands of angry rioters took to the streets in several cities.
So I'm not exactly sure how you may have pulled the information about where Isaias is located at this. There are many different ways to do it. If you could have gotten it from Taggart and thus would have seen him talking to you right now, or you would have had to get it off of the computer. And then, but what was really fun for us was all these things have repercussions. How you actually do it have repercussions on what's going to happen very, very soon in the story. Because as you end up getting to see Isaias, if you got the information from Taggart directly, Taggart is going to go on the air and he'll end up telling, basically leading to Isaias wanting to commit suicide. And if you snuck here, never got to Jensen, never got to Taggart at all, and agreed to Sarah's request to frame them, then Taggart will go on the air and you'll end up having to convince Isaias out of suicide. And there's one possible way that you will actually not have an entire conversation with Isaiah Sandoval to talk him out of it.
Yeah.
And that's if you basically sneak in here and then deny Seraph what he wants.
Exactly.
And in that instance...
And now when you meet Isaiah, is going to attack you.
He'll actually attack you straight out. So it was interesting figuring out all those challenges and all those ways to connect it.
Yeah.
And it actually led to the possibility of cutting an entire conversation boss fight.
Absolutely.
Access granted.
Seraph, Sandoval's in Detroit. Holed up in some apartment building on Grand River Road. I'm heading there now.
All right. But Adam, you think Taggart's involved?
There's no hard evidence yet to prove it.
Too bad. But you know there could be. If you upload that data recording you got in Montreal onto his computer...
You're asking me to frame him?
We could lose everything, Adam, given the mood out there. We may have to get our hands dirty to fix it. Well, you got a problem with that?
Yes, I do.
All right. It was just a thought. Seraph out.